Hello, my name is Levi Black Eagle. I am the youngest son of Cedric and Audrey Black Eagle. I grew up in Las Vegas, Montana, where I attended school, and I graduated in 1999. I attended college at Montana State University Billings, Little Bighorn College, and Montana State University Bozeman, where I studied electrical engineering. Um, and I'm currently a teacher at the Crow Agency Public School. I'm running for office because I want to do my part to help my community. I want to make my tribe a better place. I want to help create an executive branch that our tribe can be proud of, that people will be glad to say, these are my leaders and I'm happy. I want to do everything within my power to make my people happy. And I feel we can do that by just being honest with them, being transparent. There are things we can do. We can take care of our elders and our children, our precious resources. We need to take care of those. They're our present and our past and our future. We can do that by giving them their checks. We can do that by teaching them, bringing back the Head Start program. And those are some of the goals I have for office, and just getting in there and being a servant for my community. That's what I want to do. I want to serve my community and make it a better place. That's why I am running for office. Did you ask me these questions? Yes.
I could. How will you address the state of finances on the Crow tribe, or of the Crow tribe?
The state of finances are, basically, we don't know. We don't know because there's no communication and there's no transparency. I believe under the Constitution, we are supposed to have quarterly reports, and those are supposed to be made accessible to the general public. Like someone myself should be able to go in there and say, what are we doing, or what's the finances look like? And as far as I know, I don't think that's available to us. So to accurately tackle that, I don't know. We won't know until we get in it, but from our sources say that we're 90 million in the red. And from what public records we do have access to, and that's not good. That's not good. So how the finances work is that, so we come up with an annual budget, and it's more of a forecast to guess, say, we need this much money for this year. But it's more of like a weather forecast. You don't know exactly what's gonna happen, so you do your best to guess. And it takes the judicial branch and the executive branch to negotiate, to say, okay, I like this much money, or I need more money here, so if we do that, we're gonna take away from here. So it's a constant give and take by all the different powers within the judicial branch, the executive and the legislative. So how to tackle our current situation is that there are ways we can help. We can create jobs by off the top of my head, we can create a recycling center. That'll take two birds with one stone. We help tackle the problem with our trash, and we create jobs. And just little things like that. We probably can't hit any home runs out of the park to say, come in and sweep off all the debt. We need to make plans with all our creditors, our debt collectors. We need to get into rehabilitation programs with them to start tackling this debt and start paying it off. Not paying your bills is, it doesn't take a genius to understand that you don't do that. You don't just not pay your bills. That's not the way businesses run. That's not the way you run a tribe either. So, and the biggest thing though is just communication. A lot of this breaks down to communication. We just gotta talk to people and tell them what's going on and why we're in the situations that we are. The more we talk about it, the more problems will present, the more solutions to the problems will present themselves.
What are your thoughts on the Crow Tribal Constitution? Do you plan to address it to create balance of power between the three branches of Crow government?
So the way our constitution is written is that we have the separation of powers between the executive, the legislative, and the judicial. And inherently, that's the way it's supposed to work, just like our own United States government, where we have the separation of powers. And there's times where they clash heads, but for the greater good of the people, they come together and they come to a consensus, what they feel is best for all different parties. And the way I would do that here is that you need to be the change that you want to see. You need to be able to see both sides of the story. You got to be able to take yourself out of the situation and look at it not through your emotions or through your own prejudice or your own beliefs and values. Take things at face value and see from both sides of the story. You can't just be so hard-headed about things, especially when the decisions that you make will affect more than just you and the people, your supporters, but also the people who don't support you. It'll support the whole community. And we need to look and see what is best for them, not just what's best for us. And we do that by example. We gotta be the change we wanna see in the world. And I believe that to be able to bring a true balance to the separation of powers is that we need to stop butting heads. We need to start working together and not against each other. I believe that we're all going towards the same common good, which is to make our place better. But along that way is because we have human beings in these seats. Human beings aren't perfect. That's why we've got to be careful when selecting our leaders. We need to find people we know that can work together. And being able to work together will bring a true balance to the powers of our Constitution.
How do you plan to address the economic conditions Crow people live in?
So, right now, one of the biggest, or I guess in history with our community is that a lot of the people worked for the tribe, and our biggest employer on the reservation was the tribe. And right now, given the state that it's in, they just can't create jobs like they used to, based on our current financial status. And a lot of that has to do with the grants. There wasn't a lot of we lost a lot of the programs that we had, and a lot of those programs employed a lot of people. And when people are working, it creates a boost to our local economy. And when they're not working, we all feel that it affects more than just businesses and the people living here. It affects pretty much everything. So how we tackle that is that we get back on track with being able to create the jobs that we lost. We got to get those back. And the reason why we lost them was we never should have lost these programs. All it took was just financial reporting, auditing. Those are things that we have to do and we're supposed to do, and we didn't do those for whatever reason. I don't know. We just need to get back on track, deal with our collectors, come up with a repayment plan, and get out of the red. We need to rebuild the status that we had. We need to reestablish the trust that was lost. We lost trust not just within our own people, we've also lost the trust within different entities that need to be able to trust us, that we'll take their money and use it for what it's supposed to be used for within a grant or a federal program, whatever the case may be. So we need to do that, and that'll create more jobs, which we can then give to our people.
How will you address some of the issues that are concerning to Crow people, such as trash, housing, infrastructure, children, and elders?
Okay, let's see, housing. I'll go with housing first. To my understanding, the housing department is being mainly run by the legislative branch, I believe, and I think that was established in 2017, I want to say. So, but as far as housing goes, as far as the executive branch of housing, I think if we have money to allocate to housing, that we should do that, because I know that housing is we got a problem here on our reservation. I remember back in the nineties, when my father was, working for the housing department, and he went in to do an inspection, and he saw, I can't remember the number, but it was way too many people living in one home. And that always stuck with me, because it really, my father's a pretty unshakable man, that it kind of shook him, it really troubled him and made him feel bad. And that's just become the norm now within our community, that we think that we don't leave because it's okay to have 20 people living in a 2-bedroom home or a 3-bedroom home, or whatever the case may be. And when you have an overcrowding of home, that inherently causes problems for the home itself. As far as wear and tear goes, I mean, the plumbing can't handle that many, most houses aren't designed to be overfilled. And as a result of that, the homes can't keep up with the amount of people living in them. But also, we don't have an abundance of places for people to live. I mean, we came home from college, and there really wasn't like a place to go rent. There wasn't a place to go buy a home. We had to carve out our own path, and thank goodness for the down payment assistance program at the housing department, that they were able to help us, to walk us through the steps, what we needed, so that we could take the steps to become home buyers and homeowners. We right now are working on paying off a mortgage on a home that we will own, that no one else can say is theirs, that we maintain, that we take care of. But also, we know there's a large population within our community of low-income families, where below the poverty line, they probably they don't have the credit, or they don't have the means right now to start paying on their own home. They need low-income units. And when we do low-income units, in a subdivision, that'd be good for them to go out and so they can pay whatever they can pay, and be able to start living on their own, start standing on their own 2 feet, knowing what independence is. Because when you stay home, you don't stand on your own 2 feet, you're becoming dependent on other family members to take care of your kids and take care of this and that. Whereas if it was just all on you, that is true independence, and that is true self-sufficiency, and that is the kind of community we want to raise. We want to raise a community that is able to stand on its 2 feet, and we need leaders that are capable of standing on their own 2 feet to see that. But a subdivision inherently kind of comes with its own things too. We need a new water system and sewer system, and everything everything affects everything. But we do know that there's a housing shortage, but where there's a will, there's a way, and we gotta get in there and find ways to help both people who can become homeowners to do so, and we need to be able to help low-income families to provide for their own housing. I think that was it for that. And no. And there's not like a blanket thing where we need to go to each district and do assessments to where we can identify, okay, not every unit, not every district, not every person is the same. Some people want to buy their own home, maybe they don't have any land. Some people want low income, but maybe that low income is not available to them. So that's where I would be with that. Next is elders. Elders are kind of being, I think that, I'll just take what, from my talking with the community, is that the elders and their checks, they're paid from the interest of a principal fund from a settlement we got from the 107th Meridian settlement, I believe. And that money is held in trust, and the principal of that money is where our elders checks comes from. We allocated money from that to say, we're gonna give our elders X amount of dollars every month. And I think it started at $100 and then it went to 2 now, and I think it's at 3 right now. So there really is no excuse as to why the elders shouldn't get their money on a consistent basis on the first of every single month. And by not doing that, it just goes back to a lack of communication and a lack of transparency. We don't know why. We can fathom and we can guess, but as far as my understanding of the laws and the practices is that there's no reason why they shouldn't have their money every single month, unless it's being used for something else. So, and to take care of that, these elders who are probably retired and need to budget accordingly, when you budget your money, it's because you have consistent money coming in and you know exactly what you have to work with. So when it's either hit or miss, I might get this money this month, I might not, I don't know. It's a gamble and it's hard to create a stable life with all that uncertainty going on. So we need to do away with that. We need to make sure that they're getting paid consistently on time. And why can't we pay them more? Why can't? If I have a problem, I go to an elder. They're very important to us as our community. When we have giveaways, that's why we revere them so much. There's respect for our elders, and like right now, we're not really showing them a ton of respect by the way that we're treating them. And so we just need to prioritize. And I think a way to do that also is to meet with them. Maybe we can meet with 2 elders from each district and ask them, what are your needs? What are your thoughts? What can we do to help? How can we make your lives better? How can we increase your quality of life? The trash. We have a landfill on our reservation, and we have to pay to use it. There's got to be something we can do about that. I know in Lander they have a recycling center where they built a unit and they go in there and they recycle the trash. And by the time they get everything all sorted out, the trash, it's taken care of. It not only creates jobs, it also creates taking away the trash. And we're not out there burning it, which has its own problems too. We can't just go out there burning chemicals. We don't know what the toxic the fumes are. They're billowing into our community. Why can't we get someone up there to police that? Who's burning it to begin with? Why can we have the cops stand by and say, hey, don't be burning this? It's against the law. But we need to do something about it. I mean, we could say, why don't we just have everybody pay $75 a month and take care of their own trash? Yeah, that'd be great. I'm willing to do that, but not everybody has a job. We need to create jobs for people in our community, and our community doesn't have jobs because our biggest employer isn't hiring anybody because they're so far in debt that they can't create jobs. We need to redo all that. We need to reestablish everything that we've lost. We need to rebuild the status within our tribe so that we can create jobs, so that people have the option to say, you know what, if no one's gonna take care of my trash and they're just gonna go burn it, I'll take care of it myself. We wanna build a community of self-sustaining individuals who can stand on their own 2 feet, where if the tribe gets taken away, they can survive, they can stand there, still be successful, they can thrive, not just survive. And I know that the EPA has funding for garbage and things of that nature. We just need to, it's so much as simple as a phone call, an email, just reaching out. Make the trash a priority right now, because right now, unprioritizing it is bad. We think about when the garbage men went on strike in New York. No one thought anything of it, they're just garbage men, but no, that has a lasting effect, and it has a bigger effect than we care to admit. And we're dealing with that right now. And with that being said, I guess ultimately my plan for the tribes is to make it better through transparency, through open communication, open dialogue, through sticking to the Constitution, what we're supposed to do, and just quarterly reports, keeping our public informed. I think as long as you're informed, the biggest fear is the uncertainty. When I don't know what's going on, that makes me scared. So when people don't know, they'll guess, they'll assume, and when you assume, that's not a good thing. So just open communication, transparency, and getting in there and doing the best we can. Thank you.